What is up, beautiful people? This is your girl, Nicole Denise, and we are back with another sit-down video. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different because usually I have some sort of plan of what I want to discuss, what I want to talk about, or some type of idea or situation that I'm dealing with has come to me, and I'm like, you know what? This will be good for the women that watch me. However, but in this situation, literally, I was scrolling the internet. Let me start from the beginning. This week has just been a week, and not a bad week. I just been very in my feelings, but not in my feelings like soaking or upset or sad or anything like that. I just been very I want to spend time with myself. So that means I haven't wanted to do any work really. I've done some kind of reluctantly. And I'm kind of just in this space subconsciously. I think I'm thinking it, but I'm not saying it aloud. But it's kind of like, girl, where are we going from here? What are we doing from here? What's the next step? Is there a next step? How do we feel about this? So as I was scrolling, I kind of got the urge to stop scrolling and go take a shower. And in the shower, I was just like, you know what? I feel like filming a video. So literally here I am. So I just put myself together after I got out the shower, and now I'm here filming this video that doesn't have a title necessarily. But the subject that I want to talk about is Black women in process, or Black women who are on the verge of something like change or transition, or just on the verge. That feeling of being on the verge to do something or be someone or get something done, like that. And then being in process, which means you're in the process of doing the thing that you have your sights set on, and just what that looks like for us. Because I think a lot of times it gets misinterpreted. At least I feel like it does. So that's the gist of this video. That is the beginning, and that's probably the most clearest I am on what I would like to talk about. Now, where we go from here, hopefully there's some nuggets in here. So if it is, when I go back editing, Nicole will go back and kind of splice it up into little lessons or nuggets. But right now, I'm just gonna give y'all stream of consciousness thinking, literally what I've just been thinking, what I've been feeling. So the reason for this video, like I said, I just been in this place of feeling like I'm in limbo, but not in limbo like you're being tugged from side to side, or you don't know where you're going, or you're kind of stressed about it or anxious about it. I'm not anxious. It's not an anxious feeling. It's just this feeling of being so what is this place? What are we doing here? What was this? Why did we stop? You're on a road trip. Why did we stop here? Nobody had to use the restroom. The gas wasn't done. So why did we stop? And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, why did we stop here? What are we doing here? What's going on here? So I'm in this place where I feel like I'm on the verge, using the road trip analogy, I'm on the verge of getting back into my car and driving and getting on the road. And I get on the road, I go in the direction that I'm going, but there's still no clear roadmap to where I'm going in the first place. Why did we start this road trip? That's what I feel like. Why are we on a road trip? Now, me, I love a good road trip. In real life, I love a good road trip. And I feel like I'm overdue for a good concert road trip. I like to go to concerts, on road trips to concerts. But that's just a side story. But I just really feel like I'm in this space of being on the verge of something great, something monumental, and something amazing for my life, but I just don't know what it is. Have you ever been in that space where you just feel like you just don't know what it is? I feel like there's this great pressure from society to always be on top of your shit and know what's going on, and and you're this boss, and you're this and I'm on top of it. I'm on top of my game. I got it all figured out. And it's just the gag is, Keke Palmer, nobody has it figured out. That's the truth. I look at all the people who are I don't care how you dress it up. I don't care how you suit it up. I don't care how many degrees you put in front of it. I don't care how much money you put on the dotted line. You still don't know. You don't know. You don't know what tomorrow brings. You don't know when your next breath is coming. You don't know if you'll get another breath. You don't know what happens when you open your eyes. All of this is speculation. So with that being said, it's kind of like, so then what is the point of all of this? You know? And not in a morbid way, but in a like, I'm just asking questions way. Like, so what is this? What was all this for? Like, what is, you know? And I feel like I have slowly over the years, like, relinquished myself from the responsibility of having it figured out, regardless of what society says, because every time I'm on the verge, which is what this video about, being on the verge or in transition or in process to transition, every time I'm on the verge and I think that I figured it out, crash, burn, something happens, death, loss, pandemic, like whatever something kaboom, catastrophic, either explodes or implodes in my life. And it's just like, well, damn, I ain't have nothing figured out. So back to square one? We're not necessarily back to square two, you know, wherever we left off at. You know, you get what I'm saying? I'll say this, and maybe this is a lesson that you can learn from my experiences. I have just, like I said, relinquished myself of that responsibility to have my shit together. I don't care what people say. I don't care how you view my life. I don't care how you view the conversations that I have on this camera. Like, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to see what's best for me. I'm trying to see what works for me. I'm trying to understand what this whole thing is about. And if you got it figured out, then bravo to you. And if you got nuggets you want to share with me in a non-condescending way, then please share. But otherwise, like, I don't know. I don't have the answer. You don't have the answer. So we out here. We outside. So the next thing that I've noticed in this space of being on the verge or in process is that a lot of big questions are coming up for me, you know, and they're just questions that I don't have the answers to. And not necessarily that, well, yeah, I am looking for the answers, of course. I'm looking for the answers. But one that really arose lately, well, there's two big ones that kind of came up, I would say in the past 2 weeks, but this one, then one came up today too. Well, yesterday. The first question, I was driving the other day and the question just popped in my head. And it was just like, how do you feel about your parents living a regular life? Like, if I were to collectively look from whatever lens, like just from my lens of experiencing my parents here on earth, and you know, sharing the time that I did have with both of them, if I were to equate their lives in the grand scheme of lives, I think they live really like regular lives, you know, and that's not a bad thing. I don't know, that's making me emotional. I think because of the childhood that I had and the upbringing that I had, and you come from this place and these parents that were like, you could be whatever you want to be. You could do whatever you want to do. The world is your oyster. Like, go out, be great, be amazing, be educated, have fun, fall in love. Like, even if some of the conversations were not overt, like we didn't necessarily have the birds and the bees conversations or the relationships conversations, how they modeled and lived their life showed us that it was okay to explore and be. Now, it was regimented by a Christian undertone, but at the core though, my parents are very like, go be who you are. And one thing, the reason why I know that is because whatever we did or whatever we were into, even if they disagreed with it, they was like, that's my child. That's my daughter. I love her. It was always unconditional. I'll say that. So then, I still don't know why this question dropped in my mind about them living regular lives and how I actually feel about that. But I guess a brief answer to that I have right now is I feel duped in a sense. And this is what I mean by that. Damn, I feel these tears. I feel like I was raised to be whoever I wanted to be and, you know, explore the world as I chose. But I didn't get to see my parents do that. Does that make sense? So that's the part that I feel like, well, damn, you told us and you allowed us and you encouraged us to be whoever we wanted to be. But then I didn't see you be who you wanted to be. Like, I know, like, me and my sisters have asked these questions before. Like, I think I've even asked my mom this before. Like, but what were your dreams and aspirations? And, like, I know my mom has said at one time she wanted to, like, when she lived in Charleston with my father, because that's where my dad's from. My dad's from South Carolina. And she wanted to, like, have a horse and buggy, like, tour company. Like, she had the person that was going to sell her the buggy, and they do the tours, because, you know, Charleston is very historic, and they have these horse and buggy tours, and she wanted to do that. And then my mom wanted to own a boutique. And then I saw my mom get into several ventures. Like, she sold black art. We always had black art in our house. She used to sell scarves and do all the designs, like all the stuff on TikTok that I see the girls like making shirts out of scarves and doing all this fancy stuff with different scarves. It just reminds me of my mom. I'm like, my mom was outside. She been doing that. So I always saw my mom with all these business adventures or ventures, but they never came to full fruition, you know, as in her being like this boss chick or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And then my father, on the other hand, was very like just a blue collar worker. He had a high school diploma, and I did see my mom go back to school, and she got her degree. She got her college degree. I don't know. And my mom had aspirations of writing books. My dad came from a singing family. Like, my dad's family, I say, as far as talent, neck and neck with like the Winans. If you were to compare, like, all of them could sing. Like, it was just amazing, the voices. Like, and my dad, like, they singers. That's why I love music, because music was always played in our house too. But I guess I just never got to see them be who I always thought they could be. Because I was the child. I can remember myself at 17, 18, taking them to like a rich dad, poor dad. Well, begging them to take me to a rich dad, poor dad conference. Because I just always felt like we were supposed to be rich. You get what I'm saying? And they obliged, and they took me, and they would buy me the books, and I was buying all this stuff like millionaire this, millionaire that. Like, but now that I'm here, and that question arose as I'm driving down the road, and both of my parents are no longer here physically, it's kind of like, how do I feel about that? How do I feel that they had these conversations of dreams and aspirations, and they would talk these talks about how we're going to do this, and as a family we're going to do that, and da-da-da-da-da, and then we did it. Like, how do I feel about that? And then how do I feel about my parents not being the model for my progress and progression in life? You get what I'm saying? And now that I'm sitting here talking about it, it may be the reason why I feel so in limbo. It's kind of like, do I just go ahead and press forward for the vision that I have, and with the vision that I have, even if that means surpassing what my parents did? You know, there's always this struggle, and I'm finding that there to be this struggle between in my mind between me honoring my parents, what that looks like. Like, if honor means that you duplicate, or does honor mean that you just carry on the legacy, you get the lessons, and then you add on to what you were given? You get what I'm saying? Because I've seen people honor their family or honor the people that are important to them by essentially becoming them. And then I've also seen people honor the people before them that meant something to them by adding on to what they gave or who they were, you know, and then adding their sauce on it. You get what I'm saying? Their individuality. And for some reason, that is a struggle for me. Like, which one is really honoring? You know, and as I'm talking it out, logically, I understand, girl, of course you're going to add your own sauce on it. Like, you're Nicole. You're going to do that. That's what you do. But it also feels like a struggle, like I am dishonoring them by not being regular. Do you hear what I'm saying? So that's one of the questions that has come up for me as I'm on the verge or in process to this next whatever it is in my life. And I feel like once I'm able to really nail down the answer to that for myself, even if it changes, but for now, if I'm able to get a working answer or definition for that for me, I feel like it'll release me to really move to my next whatever it is that I'm going for. In a way to honor your parents, sometimes you take on their bad habits as well. It's almost like because this is what they modeled for you and that they're no longer here, this is you holding on to a piece of them. Like, for example, my mom was a pack rat, a hoarder, whatever you want to call it. She shopped a lot. We had a lot of stuff. The house was always full of stuff, just stuff. I see that tendency in me. I see it in my sisters. I see it, yes, but I'm just speaking for me. I see it in me. So to combat that, for me, I get on these purging spells where I literally, and my cousin laughs and she's like, girl, don't just be throwing everything away. But when I clean, I literally get the big construction bags, garbage bags, and I just be tossing stuff. Because I'm like, if I haven't used it, seen it for more than 2 months, then I don't even remember it, so it don't even matter. That's me. And I just start with a clean slate. That's just me. I do that every 2 months. And it's so funny because I was looking for something the other day to wear, and I'm like, did I throw that dress away? I might have. Because in your mind, you still think you have it, but then it might have been a casualty of one of the cleaning spells I had. So, you know, because I can't find it, so I'm like, ooh, it might have got lost in the transition, baby. So, with that being said, I made a declaration to myself that dealt kind of directly with the influence that my parents have had over my life, you know, and going forward, how I don't want that specific influence to influence my life anymore, basically. I also think that there are not enough safe representations, displays, examples, IEs of Black women, number one, being given the space to be in process and on the verge of something new in their lives. And then number two, a place where you can kind of do that collectively and or publicly. Now, I don't mean that I need everybody to be shooting content and like, this is how you be on the verge, this is how you're in process. But literally, when I think of like, because I'm a YouTube head, so I watch a lot of vlogs and stuff like that, and there are certain things that stuck out to me. Like, for example, I gleaned something from, I watch a plethora of different people, and a plethora of Black women, but different types of Black women from different walks of life, different ways of living. Like, that's what I love, because I like to see how other people handle how they handle this Black womanhood, basically. So I can think of one that distinctly sticks out to me, and it was by Tisa Tierra. I remember one time she was coming home from work and she was talking about how her anxiety was like on 10, and she was very anxious. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to go home and ground myself. And, you know, you could just say that. And I know when I think of grounding, what that means. I know what grounding techniques I use for anxiety. Like I run my hands underwater, or I get in the shower, or I journal, or I breathe deeply. Like those are the grounding techniques I have. But then she did the simplest thing, and it was so monumental for me. She just let the camera roll while she was doing her grounding techniques. Like she stretched on her bed. She did poses. She did deep breathing. It was just, to see it though, it made me feel so seen. And even though her grounding techniques were not the same as mine, it made me realize like, oh, there are other Black women out here trying to figure out how to bring themselves back in their body when anxiety is telling them, get out, get out. It's a monster, it's a bear, run, run. When you're in that fight and flight state, oh my gosh, there is a way to do that. Oh my gosh, I'm not by myself. Oh my gosh, look at her. This is how she does it. And this is somebody that you think is on top of their game. You get what I'm saying? Or they out here doing their thing, you know, but she also too has to come back to self, has to center, has to ground herself, has to get back in a state of zen and peace. And I was just that simple thing of her letting me, the viewer, peek into seeing her ground herself. I was just like, yeah. I needed that. That was monumental for me. That was monumental. And that's what I mean. I just think there's not enough representations or spaces where I see Black women allowed to be in process. It's like every time we show up, we have to be on. We together, our waist is snatched, our hair is done, we got our 7-figure plan, the checks are rolling in, our man is secure. Like, it is never a place where we're just like, girl, I don't know what the hell I'm doing today, but I showed up. That's a win. A win is a win. I don't see places like that. Thank God. And a lot of people like to talk smack about this generation. But this generation, there's some real trailblazers. And I think millennials blaze the trail, and they're taking it like another step where they're just like, you know what? I'm going to live in this state of figuring it out. And that's just what it is. And you're going to get these videos while I'm living in this state of figuring it out. So if I'm dancing, doing a TikTok dance, or I'm acting an ass and being foolish, according to you, because this is your perception of what I'm doing, or I'm on here crying and bawling my eyes out as I try to figure out love, or I try to figure out family, or I try to figure out just my emotions in general, I'm going to let you see. And let me tell you something. Yeah, you can overshare, I think. And I only think it's oversharing when it's not in a safe space. And sometimes a public forum like a TikTok or Instagram or a social media platform is not the best place. And also, because it's not a but, and also, it is very reformative for people to see expressions of just humanness live and in color. That right there is what I thank the generation after me for. Thank you for that. Because you are showing people how to live in process and not sweeping under the rug, not hiding behind a facade, not behind a whole bunch of masks. You like, this is what I'm on today. And look, tomorrow it might all change. And sometimes people read that it's instability, or they read that it's crazy, they read that it's whatever. Or wishy-washy, or all over the place, whatever. But even if that's the case, even if that's the label, so what? That's what it is right now. And that I appreciate. So, in conclusion, if this made any sense at all, I am just in this space of, like I said, in process and on the verge of something great. And maybe I don't want to even put all that pressure on there. I don't know if it's great. I'm on the verge of something. I'm on the verge of something that's not this. Or maybe it's this times two, or maybe it's just more of this. I don't know. But what I'm saying is I'm allowing myself the space, the time, the energy, the focus. Like I'm focusing in on what I got going on, which I think is why this week was very like quiet for me in a lot of ways. Like I'm just focusing and seeing, checking in, like, girl, we good? And I'm like, yeah, we all right. We don't know where we going, what's happening. We don't know why we in the car, but we on the road. So, I mean, we got gas, we got food, we got snacks, we got music. So, I guess we going somewhere. I don't know where we going, child, but we going somewhere. But at least we got the comforts and the luxury. We got air conditioning in the car. So, we cool. We just don't know where we going. So, I'm giving myself that space to just be in process. And while I'm doing that, of course, the writer in me is going to write. So I've been writing this ebook, workbook. I don't know what it's going to be just yet. Ebook, workbook. It might be both. For Black women, of course. And it just talks about when Black women change, like what that process looks like. And historically speaking, what it looks like and who people have said Black women are. And what we're supposed to be, even down to the stereotypes of like the Jezebel, the Mammy, the Sapphire, you know, the Bugaboo, the Welfare Queen, all of those things, and then like who we actually are and what it looks like when we decide to transform and change. So I'm really enjoying the process of writing this like workbook, ebook. Yeah. And I will drop the link at the bottom of this video when it's done. And it'll be on my website for purchase. But I am just one day at a time. I'm on the verge of something. I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm going to definitely bring that question up in my therapy session next week about how do I feel about my parents being regular people and living regular lives, even though they pushed me to be like this great something, you know. And we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, this is just me checking in. Hopefully you got something from this video. Drop your questions down below or finish the conversation, join the conversation. Are you on the verge of something new, transitioning into a new space? Are you in process of going from one place to another place, another feeling, one feeling to another feeling, a different career? Are you going into motherhood? Have you experienced a loss and you're trying to figure out how to navigate the world without the person or the pet or whatever you lost, the job, the marriage? What does your in process look like? I would like to know, and tell me how you making it through, girl. Tell me, because I need some answers too. I need your help just like you need my help. So with that being said, I'm going to sign off. I think that's all I have to say for today. And yeah, until next time, you guys. Peace.